It's a new year and a new season for Kernels. We're kicking off 2026 by launching a video podcast, giving you a front row seat to the people and conversations shaping Ohio agriculture. Meet NOG's new CEO, Sam Kiefer, and learn how a new partnership could create real savings for your farm. It's all coming up on Kernels. Welcome to Kernels and our new video podcast. I'm Tad Nicholson. Joining me today is Sam Kiefer, who started 2026 in a new role as the CEO of the National Association of Wheat Growers, better known as NOG. Sam, welcome to Kernels.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to speak with you and the growers in Ohio.
Well, that's great. Sam, you stepped into the CEO role at NOG late last year, and I know over the past few months it's been a whirlwind of meetings and conversations, you getting to know all of the people in the wheat world. For people who have not met you yet, can you give us a little bit about your background and really what led you to this new role as CEO of NOG?
I grew up on a farm in south central Pennsylvania. It's a corn, soybean, wheat operation. When I was a kid, I'm the youngest of three. When I was a kid, we had a cow-calf operation, and when the youngest of the labor pool, myself, went off to college, the cows started leaving as well. My father and brother still farm. My brother is the one running the operation, and my father is very involved and continues to sell seed. He's been a seed sales rep for almost 40 years now. So a typical example of a farmer who takes on new things and keeps on going because he thoroughly enjoys it. Tad, as you know, but for your listeners, my formidable years growing up on the farm were during the 1980s. So difficult time from a financial perspective. And then on top of that, our neck of the woods had several years of drought. So extremely difficult time on the farm. And frankly, that's probably why I'm not a farmer today. I saw how hard my parents worked just to get further and further behind each and every year. I took the opportunity to head to college, was going to be an attorney, and decided law school was not for me. Ended up joining the United States Army. But the longer I was away from agriculture and rural America, the more I felt drawn back to it. And one day was perusing a local regional farm publication in the classifieds back when you actually went to a newspaper to look for job opportunities, and applied to a blind ad. And it turned out to be Pennsylvania Farm Bureau, working as an organization director with 8 county farm bureaus in the area where I grew up. Spent 20 years, more than 20 years, working with Pennsylvania Farm Bureau and American Farm Bureau. The last 5 have been at the American Farm Bureau, leading federal advocacy efforts for growers of all commodities across all 50 states and Puerto Rico. And excited to make the transition here to NOG and to wheat and continue those efforts.
Glad that you made that decision. You're a fantastic fit, but honestly, you're coming into this job at a really critical time in agriculture. So, what is it about NOG and the work that's being done there that made this opportunity feel like it was a right fit for you?
Wheat has a huge impact on the farm economy. It's not as big as some of the other row crops out there, but wheat is a staple of American agriculture. Wheat is a staple of global agriculture and of nutrition. And I thought it might be an opportunity to bring my diverse Farm Bureau experience, which is both on the membership side, on the administration side, the fundraising side, and on the policy side, to wheat, which is very important to American agriculture and to the food conversation. I also saw it as an opportunity to add to maybe narrow the scope a little bit. I spent more than 20 years with Farm Bureau worrying about everything in agriculture because everything truly is important. So whether it was fruits and vegetables, or dairy, or cotton, or rice, or wheat, or corn, or soybeans, or livestock, there's a lot going on. And also I'm at that point where I've got kids ready to head off to college, and I thought it might be a good idea to maybe free up a little bit of time to be able to go help interact with them, help them in the college search. So this was a great opportunity. Timing was great, helps me narrow the scope and continue to apply my skills and maybe free up a little bit some of that family time. Still 100% engaged, but I know not every announcement out of Congress or USDA is a crisis.
I completely understand your desire to narrow the scope. I could say, listeners of Kernels know I have a great relationship with my good friend Adam Sharp, who runs Ohio Farm Bureau. Thank goodness Adam is there doing what he's doing about all of these different issues. And so, if there's a deer population issue that happens around the state, that's good for Farm Bureau to be there. I'm so supportive of him. I get to roll my sleeves up on things that just impact grain farmers. And so for you to really hone in on just the things that are important to wheat farmers, I think you're going to really enjoy that as well.
And Adam is a great friend of mine. He and I kind of grew up together in the Farm Bureau family.
NOG is a federation of a bunch of states. So for farmers that may not interact with NOG every day, what's it mean for wheat farmers when the organization's doing its job really well?
The National Association of Wheat Growers is the primary voice for wheat in Washington, D.C. There are commodity organizations aplenty here in this town, and there are farm organizations as well. We just talked about Farm Bureau, there's Farmers Union, there's plenty of organizations that have a much larger umbrella, and they do great work. Wheat growers, the National Association of Wheat Growers, or NOG, is primarily focused on what is happening in the world of wheat, and we're able to dig a little bit deeper into the regulatory proposals, and we're able to follow the intricate details and each line by line of what is going to matter to wheat, as opposed to having to look out for multiple different commodities, multiple different regions. Wheat is grown across the country, and wheat is extremely diverse. I'm learning more and more each day with the different classes of wheat, the different regions and different destinations. There is a lot to be considered from government policy and decisions that the government makes or chooses not to make that impact wheat. Elected officials and their teams, their staff, they are generalists. They may they may be interested in agriculture policy or healthcare policy or tax policy, but at the end of the day, when it comes to what it is that farmers care about, elected officials by and large are generalists. And so it takes organizations like NOG, like Farm Bureau, like other commodity and farm groups out there to help them understand the nuance of every decision and what the intricate details mean to the men and women who make a living or try to make a living on the farm these days. NOG is the primary voice when it comes to interacting with the administration on all things wheat. We've spent in my little bit more than 2 months now in the saddle. Several encounters with White House, USDA, HHS individuals and decision makers about things that are important to a lot of Americans, but have the stakes are very high for wheat, and that is dietary guidelines and the desire to define ultra processed foods. Wheat is one of those commodities that stands at the intersection of farm and food, and not every farm group that's out there is able to have that conversation and speak with the command of the issues as specifically as NOG. The United States Congress is doing less and less each and every year. Sometimes it's by design, sometimes it's just by the margins, but the quote unquote regulation of farmers is increasing, and that's not necessarily coming from government. We're seeing the private sector, often it's corporate boardrooms or marketing departments making promises or pledges that can only be delivered on the backs of farmers and those who are producing the feedstocks that go into whatever the product that makes it to the shelf might be. And one of the areas where NOG will grow is engaging with food companies and other folks in the supply chain to make sure that the farmer voice is heard and understood, and hopefully taken into account before some of those conversations start or decisions are made.
Well, you mentioned a few of the key issues going forward in 2026, the ultra processed food definition being done in states, state by state, but eventually going to have to be done federally. Lots of different things to work. What's the one other thing that maybe we ought to be watching for in 2026 when it comes to NOG's policy?
The short list is the Make America Healthy Again conversation. You know, farmers, wheat growers, National Association wheat growers, and other farm groups do not disagree with the notion of improving health outcomes for our friends and neighbors. It's good for all of us. But how we get there is important, and the rhetoric that is used in that conversation is equally important. There is rhetoric out there that is demonizing wheat and milling of wheat without any scientific basis. Humans have been taking kernels of wheat, milling them into flour, and baking life-sustaining food from it for tens of thousands of years. Yet the problem that is trying to that some folks are trying to solve here with the obesity and health challenges, again, very, very laudable goals, but the processing of the food is not necessarily the challenge. We want to make sure that we're having a conversation about the nutritional aspect of it and how we get from point A to point B. That process should not be demonized if it is certainly not changing any nutritional composition or adding unhealthy or carcinogenic or other things to it. So we are trying to have a very difficult scientific and nutrition conversation in a world full of rhetoric. And let's face it, we do have a health challenge in the United States, and a lot of it comes from disposable income. We as a nation have been doing a great job of in many cases, maybe not recently, but in many cases of each generation doing a little bit better than the ones before. And with that come more opportunities, more disposable income, buying more snacks and things of that nature. And just like with anything else, the dose is just as important as the medicine. So I talked about domestic opportunity. I need to add to also talk about trade. Probably the most difficult conversation facing all of agriculture has been trade in 2025. That will likely continue in 26. Wheat has not been as negatively impacted as some other commodities. With the good work of U.S. Wheat Associates and others, we've been able to grow our market access. So we have not seen the same significant decline as some other commodities. That being said, we have lost market share, primarily with China, but it could be a whole heck of a lot worse. But trade to us is not just about moving wheat out. It's also about products coming in. And the trade conversation tariffs and retaliatory tariffs has had an impact on fertilizer prices. That's nothing new. We've seen that for the better part of the last 5 years of escalation in input costs. When they go up, they don't often come down. So we're trying to find some sanity in the approach to the inputs that we bring in. It's not just fertilizer and fertilizer feedstocks, but it's also equipment. It's also parts, and finding a way to have an adult conversation about that when it comes to trade. That all lends itself to the overall goal of every farmer, and that's to turn a profit so we can do the same thing next year and year after year so we can turn the farm to the next generation.
That's good to hear. We hear about farm profitability at every farm meeting that we go to. And so never forget that wheat, about half of our wheat is exported. So you talked about domestic consumption of wheat. You talked about international trade. Those are the two biggies we always have to keep focused on. And you, with bringing in your experience from Pennsylvania Farm Bureau to your leadership at the American Farm Bureau's policy shop and the contacts that you have throughout DC, all going to really benefit us at NOG. And I really just want to say thank you. And I appreciate your leadership of what you're about to step into at NOG. And thanks for taking the time to get to know the people of Ohio.
Thank you, Ted. Look forward to our continued collaboration together.
When we come back, a new partnership that could create some real savings for members of the Ohio Corn and Wheat Growers Association.
Farming isn't just a job, it's the foundation of life. Farmers feed us, fuel our future, and pass down traditions built on hope and hard work. At Farm Credit Mid-America, we know farming is more than a profession, it's a legacy. That's why we stand shoulder to shoulder with farmers, offering agricultural loans, insurance, and education. Because we're not just here for farmers, we're owned by them. Farming matters, and we're proud to honor it every day.
In today's ag landscape, technology has to do more than look good on paper. At AgriSpray Drones, we don't just sell spray drones, we use them, test them, and support the people who rely on them. Built on integrity, education, and service, we set realistic expectations, simplify the learning curve, and stay with our customers every step of the season. Because empowering rural America means making sure you succeed in the field. Find an AgriSpray Drones dealer near you.
Ohio Corn and Wheat, working on behalf of farmers.
Ohio Corn and Wheat has some vital roles in helping the profitability of Ohio corn farmers.
Ohio Corn and Wheat's role in creating the next generation of successful farmers is bringing those farmers together.
It's important for farmers all across Ohio to get involved with Ohio Corn and Wheat just because they are farmer-led and it lets our voice be heard.
Experience the Ohio Corn and Wheat Growers Association. Join or renew your membership now at ohiocornandwheat.org. Our corporate partners make it possible for us to do the work that we do on your behalf. We're proud to highlight companies that stand with Ohio farmers. Joining me today is an organization that may be new to some of our members. So at this time, join me in welcoming Brett Barton, Vice President, Commercial and Benefits with Element. Brett, welcome to Kernels.
Gary, thanks a lot for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Brett, for folks who may not be familiar with Element, if you could just give us a quick overview of who you are and what kind of work that Element does.
Yeah, as you said, I'm Brett Barton, Vice President of Commercial Insurance and Employee Benefits here at Element. We are an independent insurance agency. We have offices in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. We offer a full suite of insurance products: home, auto, life, wealth management, employee benefits, commercial insurance, and of course, farm insurance and crop insurance. And something that, we're really proud of here at the agency, I'd like to take this opportunity just to, share this, is we are the largest privately held farm insurance agency in the state of Ohio. So it is our bread and butter here at Element.
Here at Ohio Corn and Wheat, we're very intentional about who we partner with, and often those relationships don't happen overnight. It takes time, and we got to make sure that we have shared priorities. So what made Element want to work with Ohio Corn and Wheat?
Yeah, I'll say I really like how you even stated the question of it being intentional. All decisions that we make here at Element are intentional as well. So let me elaborate a little bit on that. It's been quite the journey. I think this discussion probably started 2 years ago here at Element. What we really wanted to do is we wanted to start partnering with an association here in Ohio. Since our farm book of business is our bread and butter, we were trying to figure out how can we partner with an association and really bring benefits to our farm prospects and our farm clients. And so what we did is we started, a due diligence process, and we started becoming involved and engaged with different associations. And it was about a year ago, I was at the Ohio Agribusiness Conference. I had an opportunity to see Tad Nicholson, the executive director, speak. Struck up a conversation with Tad afterwards, and it just took off from there. We really became involved with Ohio Corn and Wheat with the celebration that I think occurred the very next month. Washington, D.C., watching the advocacy, right, that Ohio Corn and Wheat took to Washington, D.C. was very, very impressive. The Farm Science Review, we loved the time we spent there with you guys at the Farm Science Review. And then we also had many conversations with clients of ours that are members of Ohio Corn and Wheat Growers Association. We asked if they were or if they weren't, and if they weren't, why, and if they were, why. And really, at the end of the day, Gary, what it comes down to is you guys are very polished, right? We love your core values. We love how you run the operation. And we thought this is really who we want to partner with.
Well, we appreciate you saying that. We're so glad to have you now as a corporate partner with Ohio Corn and Wheat. There are many benefits to being a member of the Ohio Corn and Wheat Growers Association. And through this new partnership, Element is offering something new to many of our viewers and members that they may want to consider. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that might be?
It's no secret that farmers are facing significant rise in production cost, whether it be fur, chem, fuel, equipment, labor, and insurance, right? We're seeing all of these costs rise. So really what we wanted to do is to figure out a way to bring down the cost of insurance, property and casualty farm insurance. As we know, crop insurance that's a government program, but property and casualty farm insurance, how can we bring that cost down? Well, we all know insurance is regulated, so we cannot willy-nilly apply discounts to farm insurance policies. I wish we could. So it's something that we actually have to entertain and approach an insurance carrier and have the discussion about filing a discount with the Ohio Department of Insurance. So what we did is we approached Western Reserve, one of the largest farm insurance carriers in the state of Ohio, the largest in our agency. We had many meetings, many conversations, and at the end of the day, they were not only on board, but excited to file this discount for those folks that are members of the Ohio Corn and Wheat Growers Association. So at the end of the day, that's what we put together. It's an exclusive discount through Element, through our agency. So that's one way that we can contribute to help with these rising costs of production.
That could be a significant amount of savings for some of our members and farmers. If someone wants to learn more about or see this discount, see if this discount makes sense for their operation, where should they go, Brett?
Two avenues, right, to get in contact with Element. The first and foremost is probably the preferred method is we have created a URL on our website. And basically it is a link. It's elementrisk.com/OCWGA. That'll take you or take the farmer to an uptake form. We just need a little bit of information filled out. That will then go into a queue for my farm advisors to give one of the members of the association a phone call, right? That's number one. Number two is we do have a phone number too, specific for Ohio Corn and Wheat Growers Association. That phone number is 740-342-0100. And then what happens after that is we will set a meeting. Our farm advisors will set a meeting with the member. And when I say set a meeting, I mean a real meeting on site at the farm owners, whatever location they want to meet at, because we feel very strongly about putting eyes on the farm, getting to know the risk of the farmer. So our farm advisors too, I'd like to say that, they talk the talk, they walk the walk. My farm advisors, they are farmers as well. I have advisors that farm 3,000 acres. I have an advisor that farms 5,000 acres, seed treatment facility with one of my advisors, drone operations. One of my advisors that ran a co-op for many, many years is also a CCA, Certified Crop Advisor. So love having him on staff. So yeah, they know farm. Let's put it that way.
Well, thank you for joining me today, and thank you to Element for supporting the work we do here at Ohio Corn and Wheat.
Absolute pleasure. And Gary, I really look forward to 2026.
Well, that's a wrap for our first video podcast of Kernels. We've got more great guests and timely conversations coming to your way. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you always stay up to date. You can also follow us on Facebook and our other social media channels for more great conversations and content.